Welcome everyone to the Proven Knowledge Podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Church. I'm a music producer from Northeast Ohio. I began this weekly interview series to give you different perspectives on how to approach a career in the field from different artists, producers, engineers, and other great minds who share their stories on not only what's made them succeed, but also what has shaped them into the people that they are today. I hope you gain some real proven knowledge from the show, and that it helps elevate you in your endeavors on your own journey towards success as well. Let's get into it. Going on, everyone. Welcome to episode 160 here on the Proven Knowledge Podcast. This is the Creators Series. Today I welcomed an artist from Rochester, New York. She goes by the name of Goddesstry. I actually discovered her visualizer for her song called Earth Cry on TikTok a few months ago. Reached out and connected with her, and we finally got to have her on the show this week. Dived into a lot of cool things. She talked about, formerly being in a group and eventually going solo and what that mission of being a solo artist has meant to her over the last couple years. Why she chose Earth Cry as her first official single and the real meaning behind that, as well as the branding behind, just going into the importance of loving the earth and giving back to the earth as well. I thought that was super great. And really just her words of wisdom on, being true to yourself, doing what's right for you, and putting out great energy into the world. And I think she's doing that in every level. I'm definitely looking forward to connecting with her again soon. And I hope you guys really enjoy and take a lot from this episode. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, welcome everyone to episode 160 here on the Proven Knowledge Podcast. This is the Creators Series, and today I have an artist. I actually discovered her on TikTok with her single called Earth Cry a few months ago. Happy to have her on the show. Welcome everyone, Goddesstry, to the show. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. I'm good. Like I said, plate is full. And then recently, I think, and you had been seeing, I was promoting for a show that I was supposed to have a couple weeks ago, and it didn't happen. It was canceled, and this particular host, I guess you could say, I've had other experiences that were a lot like the most recent one. So I think it was just a sign that, it's something that indie artists have to do. Yeah. You have to literally be the DIY person of your life and take matters into your own hands, or things may flop. The person you can depend on the most is you. So I learned a very huge lesson. So right now I'm, making some things happen. I don't want to say too much because I want to be able to give my word and deliver.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much where I've been and what I've been up to.
You're so right, though, about that, about, indie artists especially. We're always in the trenches, you know what I mean? There's always things to have to fix or figure out or just get through. So I'm glad to hear you're at least still going through all this stuff, and I know it's a lot to deal with, but I'm happy that, you were able to make time today to be here, and I'm looking forward to, diving into some of this stuff. And I really want to get it started with how we began most episodes, which is kind of, give some background, how did you get into music? How long have you been doing it? For people that might not know you and what you do.
Oh, well, gee whiz. I've been a music head since I was a child. I was always in something musically. In school, I was always in choirs. And of course, being a little black girl, I got dragged to church. So I was in choirs, and oh my gosh, the choir directors, they would make me do solos. I didn't really enjoy it though, because as much as I love to sing, I didn't get the courage and the confidence to really sing on my own until maybe 2-3 years ago. So it's still pretty recent, but I always loved the sound of just all these collective voices and how beautiful all those harmonies are together. I was always fascinated by that. And just the amount of community and fellowship in music. I admired that because I've seen it in mainstream artists. When you look at BTS behind the scenes work, but also being in choir, you know, I got a taste of that. So I, you know, I fell in love with it, and I knew that it was something I always wanted to do, because like even before we got on the Zoom, like I'm working on, I have a guitar and I'm like literally reconstructing the body, because it's a model that's over 10 years old. So it has some like exterior damage, but it still works. But I'm like, you know, bedazzling away my little guitar, and I'm watching behind the scenes like old Destiny's Child videos, and them in the studio, and you know how they come up with their performance list and the order things are going to go to the costumes. So since I was a child, I knew it was something I wanted to do. I was just waiting on myself to get that courage to go full on and to be solo with it. But I was even okay with like not being solo, because in school, in elementary, I tried to start girl groups, but nobody was as passionate as me or as disciplined. So I was like, okay, well, this is not gonna work. Like, I'm gonna have to sing on my own at some point, because everybody's drive is just different. Yeah, but you know, that's pretty much where I've been like this whole time with music. It's just like I've always been in music, but I was in like the behind scenes work of it. So a lot of people obviously don't know who I am, because I've always just kind of been in like the little nooks and crannies.
Yeah, I was gonna say, immediately when I saw the keyboard in the background, I was like, oh, she has a lot going on already. So yeah. I'm like, I know she probably is definitely like a student of music, and it's good to hear that you've kind of been like, you've been involved your whole life pretty much. You know what I mean? Like, whether it was being a listener or performing or whatever. So it's like, I really feel like at that point, you know, you're cut out to do that, you know, one way or another. So what do you think? Because you just mentioned it, like, it's only been a couple years since you really got the confidence to commit to it, to what you're doing now and being an artist. So like, what was that moment like for you when you made that decision, and what has it been like to see the progress so far?
It was a breakthrough moment. It was a breakthrough moment. I had to go through some things. You know, I went like through a relationship and it did a number on me. And I had some things that I needed to say, and I knew that I had to tell my story, but I just never knew how I would go about it. And then I thought about it one day. I'm like, well, you sing, you know, there's nothing else that I've ever wanted to do in life other than to sing. So that was one of the moments. But it really happened for me when I found out I was pregnant with my daughter, my only child. And I kept having the intuition, the instinct, like I know my body really well. And I was having dreams and like visions, and I was like, uh-oh. I was like, I think I'm getting a little one on the way. But I started to have this urge to write. And I was never, up until like 2 years ago, I was never a songwriter. I tried when I was younger, and maybe I was good and I just didn't know. But to me, when I was younger, you know, I'd write things, I'm like, this is garbage, and I'd throw it off to the side. But yeah, that little girl, she sparked something in me, because there were auditions being held for a local artist here in Rochester. She's moved on, her and her mate, to a whole nother city to embark on a journey. And I feel like that was a sign as well, because I auditioned as a backup singer, and I made it along with another local talent. And we had a couple rehearsals. We didn't even get to one solid like performance or set. And they were like, yeah, we're going to Philly. We're moving to Philly. And I'm like, and it wasn't like, where does this leave me? But it was like, okay, like, you love being on stage, you love that feeling, you love music, you can't let it all go to waste, because now they're embarking on a new journey. So those things got the fire under my butt, and I feel like it was also a sign, because she was embarking on a new journey. the other young lady that I was singing with, she goes by the name Deja Livette, and she's actually doing pretty well right now in her solo journey. She was already doing well before she even joined this backup. So I feel like it was just a sign that we all, like, as individuals, had these things going for ourselves, and they just required individual work. In that time period, it didn't call for us to all be together as a band. So, yeah, you know, that's pretty much what gave me the push. And two, because what I was writing, the things that I talk about, it's not very common in music right now. And I recognized that, and I was like, the only one that can really get that message out there that's given to me is me.
Yeah.
So
I honestly think that I always look at that as one of the best parts of music too, is the fact that, you know, it's great to do it with collaborators and have people there, but you can also do a lot yourself too. You know what I mean? And tell your own stories and kind of figure out your own journey. So even to start from almost where it's like you were in that group and you had those experiences, then to set off on your own and do your own thing and be like, I'm going to tell this story in my own way this time. I mean, I can only feel that's probably very freeing too, to have that and to kind of move forward with that idea in mind. So, and the story about your daughter as well, having that be kind of a spark for like getting things going too. Do you think she's going to be doing anything musically inclined? Do you see that already, or?
Oh yeah, because when we got the piano, she's like banging, and we'll go places. We're out in the store, and to me, she's just doing what toddlers and babies do. They make noise, but there are people they hear, and they're like, "She's singing." And one person, they were like, "She sounds very beautiful to be so small." You know, to have the control that she has over her voice already. But definitely, because I remember even moments where, like, her father, when I was pregnant, we'd be in the car, and he does music as well. He would put on his music, and I will feel her, like, stomping in my belly. And I said, she's going to be a dancer. I'm like, I know she's going to be a dancer.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And this thing where, like, she gets in trouble, like, she knows that she's wrong for something, and she'll get her little she'll start trying to dance her way out of trouble.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm like, she's definitely gonna be, because the way her whole world shifts when she hears something, it's amazing.
Yeah, that's super awesome, and hopefully you guys can do some type of like art together in the future too. You know, that would be amazing. So I definitely wanted to dive into the track that you did put out in February called Earth Cry. I'm not sure if it is your first single, because I know it's like the first track that's kind of out there. So that's what caught my attention, because I found it on TikTok. I found the visualizer and everything, and just the message behind the song as well. The instrumentation, like everything about it caught my attention. So kind of give us the details of that. You know, how did that song come to be? Why do you feel like that was the one you chose to lead off with as well?
Yeah, so I visit a park here in Rochester called Highland Park, and that's where I go pretty often to ground myself. And it's actually, I don't know, it's so funny. I don't know, maybe it's the Aquarian in me. We're kind of dark and quirky and weird, but it's right across from a cemetery. But it's so much peace over there. So sometimes I'll just be sitting across from the cemetery and sitting in the park. And I actually, at that time, I wasn't sitting there grounding myself. But like I said, because of the connection I have to that space, my mother, my uncle, and I, we were heading towards home, the place that was home to me at the time. And driving by that park in the cemetery, I started hearing these words, and it was raining. And I said, that sounds like a song. And so, you know, I'm singing it, and I'm trying to get the cadence right on it. So then, you know, I pull up my little video recording and record myself singing it, the hook. So then I'm like, okay, I haven't finished writing this. But I was determined to continue to write it in the space where I was originally inspired to do so. So, you know, that's where I went. And I think when I finally finished it, I finished it in my bedroom. But most of the writing was done at the park. But yeah, I think a lot of my stuff that I write is like inspired by like different aspects of nature. And too, because I feel like we're in a time and space today where people feel like it's the deep thing to say or to do is to want to be somewhere other than Earth. And well, it's like, what did Earth do to you? You're like, oh, Earth is ghetto. I want to go to the moon. I want to go to Mars. You probably don't even like Mars. You don't even know what's up there. And you're talking, you know, and she gives us so much. Like, nature is beautiful. Like, we get fruit, we get vegetables, all these beautiful animals around, and water. The energy and the frequency of water and what it does to you just sitting there. So I just felt like I was put here to be like one of the ones to pour into her through art, but also to inspire people to be more appreciative of all these different aspects of Mother Earth. And to do it in a way that's very appealing and very groovy and funky, and it's something that people can resonate with, but also be like, like, it's strange, it's different, but they be like, I rock with that. Like, they got no choice because it sounds so good. So I love like disco and Donna Summer and neo soul, Erykah Badu and Angie Stone. Like, those are great artists. Those are artists I'm inspired by. India Arie and Jill Scott. I love Jill Scott because I'm a poetry person. But yeah, that's really the origin of that song. And I intend to write more things like that. That's one reason why I've kind of been like taking my time with this project, because I didn't want to be deterred or to sway away from those different aspects of the project that I'm working on. You know, I at some point, like, I'll be making like little love songs and things like that, and even talking about my relationship, like the previous things that I went through. But I just want to, like I said, stay true to what I feel, you know, I was put here for. So
yeah. Hey, hope you're enjoying the episode so far. I just wanted to take a quick minute out to let you know how you can become a monthly supporter of the show. So if you click on the show description in your podcast platform, you'll see the word support this podcast toward the bottom, and you can follow that link to sign up. You have the options of donating $1, $5, or $10 a month, and that'll be used towards making the show a better experience for you as the listener. That means new and exciting guests, giveaways, and a lot more that we can continue to provide for you. So feel free to click that link and check it out, or visit anchor.fm/provenknowledge/support to contribute today. And for now, let's get back into the episode. That's awesome. And I even, to go as far as like how it looked visually as well, even the branding of what you're doing as far as like the color choice, I don't know if that's like intentional, like a lot of greens and oranges and like the certain types of like aesthetics. I love that as well to kind of go with it. So that all caught my attention very much, and I love the song, like I really do. And Erykah Badu, I honestly thought of that when I heard the beat too. I was like, this feels very like Jay Dilla-esque, like neo soul type beat with the guitars mixed in and stuff. I was like, I love the sound too. So I definitely love the track, and even the intro. Like I love how it has like that extended intro in there to kind of lead up into the vocals. So definitely a huge fan of it, and I'm definitely excited for the EP too, because I think it's going to be kind of even more of an extension of that sound, I feel, and just kind of like building onto that. So are you working with anyone outside of just yourself on this project? Do you want to reveal anything about that?
Yes, because I actually had an artist I want to tell you about anyway. So you can check him out. So another local artist here, he goes by Kai Onyx. And oh my God, he is super dope. And I had to have him on this EP specifically because, like I said, I love disco and things like that, but I'm also a jazz person.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like different aspects of jazz. And he is a rap artist that uses a lot of those elements. Is it low? Now that we're talking, can you tell me, is it lo-fi or is it lo-fi?
I've always heard it as lo-fi. So,
oh
yeah. I guess
okay,
either
I'm
one's
like,
correct. It's just like how you want to say it, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I needed someone to clear that up for me.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he's into like a lot of like kind of like lo-fi sounding beats, and even like kind of like Jay Dilla type of sound. But the way that he writes is so genuine, and it just hits home. Like, it really, really hits home. Like, he has one song called If Tomorrow Comes. And Moonbeam is my favorite. But, yeah, I got him on the project. So he's a part of the intro. And then another song that I'm doing called Yin and Yang. So those are just, like, the different aspects of, like, divine feminine and divine masculine, light and darkness. So... yeah, and I actually wanted him for Yin and Yang because I literally feel like he's like the masculine version of me. So it was insane when I first saw him, because when I first saw him, we didn't actually meet. We were both performing at the same event. It was the Summer Soul Fest block party here in Rochester, because there's Summer Soul Music Festival every summer, but there was a block party for it, doing like book bag drives and stuff for children going back to school. And I performed, and he was like way later on, and he went up there and he performed, and I'm like, oh my God, like it was just something about the things that he was saying, and I resonated with that, especially energetically and spiritually at the time because of some of the things that I was going through. And he just never left my mind. And, I made sure I followed him and everything. And that was almost a year ago. And now we're, in this place where we're, literally trying to curate events and things together. So it's just crazy how God works, because I didn't imagine less than a year ago that we would be on the basis that we are now in terms of working together. And we're actually preparing to go to... Indiana for a gig. So we're literally striving to make some things happen, because we're both kind of in that same boat of we're just tired of depending on people and it doesn't work out. So we're literally on the same frequency. But right now, honestly, he's the only feature that I have, just because I really wanted with this project to prove that I could make a name for myself and people can see what I have to offer, other than just kind of riding the coattails of another artist.
Yeah. And that's important to do on the first project, too, I feel like, is kind of to just give them a piece of yourself, too. But that's great to hear that you have someone there as well that's kind of, sharing the same viewpoints, I think, as well. And who knows, maybe you guys could do, a collab project one day, a full, every song with you guys. That would be pretty cool. But I'm going to have to check out his material, because it definitely sounds like some stuff I'd be into as well. So
would love him. You would love him. He's very, very. It is so inspiring. When you go back, if you see his YouTube channel, I'm gonna send you this stuff. But his consistency is insane. His work ethic is insane. I mean, he's so consistent. And oh my gosh, there would be times I would be contemplating on something, and I'm just sitting back nah, I'm not gonna do it. And then he'll post something, and I'll be like, and God is like, you could be doing that, but you're being too much of a perfectionist.
Yeah.
And he has, what he's done? How you can kind of look at someone's work, and it's not polished. It's like their form of a masterpiece, but it's not this crystal clear, like when his visuals come out, they're not like all these crystal clear pixels everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But even based off of like the camera quality that he had at whichever points in his life, he's created an aesthetic around it.
Mm.
So it's like very like vintage and you know, a little gritty, but at the same time, it's very poetic and very insightful. And it's just like he has an era, like he creates an era for every single project. And you see it, like I said, just with the upgrades that he makes,
mm-hmm.
you know, each and every time. So you can appreciate the journey just because you get to see how much he's elevated based off of like the quality of his work.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, that is impressive.
I was gonna say that serves as inspiration, honestly, too, when you see people that do that.
Yeah.
And that sounds like my exact type of person right there. You know, staying consistent, staying on the grind, but doing it in a way where he's still building his brand and building his sound as well, and the quality's still there. So I'll definitely check out his stuff. So definitely send that to me. And hopefully everyone else on the podcast listening can check them out as well. So last few questions here. These are ones I ask on every episode. And the first one is, if you could go back 10 years ago, maybe give yourself a piece of advice, or maybe not change anything at all, what do you think you would do?
I would tell myself 10 years ago, probably would have told myself to not let survival take me away from music. I think that's honestly like that's probably the most, that's the truest thing. And I was thinking about this yesterday. It's so funny you asked me. But I think I've definitely had a phase just where, because I didn't go to college. Like, I graduated high school. I went to a performing arts school, not for vocal, but for visual arts, as like a drawer and a painter. But I was like trying to find the ropes and find stability as a young adult. And at the time, based off of what things were like at home, you know, I was like trying to get into my own apartment. So the last thing that was on my mind, especially being in the wrong relationship, was trying to record and get all these other things in order in terms of music. Because I'm like, well, I can't do anything if I don't even have a roof over my head. So yeah, I would say definitely just not letting survival take you away from your passions. And I don't want to say avoid relationships, but consult with spirit about if you should be in one as an artist, because I'm in a place where I'm married to music. This phase in my life does not call for a mate. It just doesn't. It would be nice, but another piece would just be like, be honest with yourself about if you can afford the time that you're supposed to give to a partner. And are they even worth sacrificing this time that you could be pouring into your craft? If I could go back and tell myself that 10 years ago, I definitely would.
Yeah. I don't think I've heard that on here, but that's both of those great pieces, I think. So, love that. Yeah. And if we flip that then and we say 10 years from now, where do you think you envision yourself in music, in life, all that good stuff?
Oh, man. In life, full-time singer, musician. I'm trying to sound like, who do I want to sound like on this guitar? Like, I don't know, India Irie or Krongben. Like, that's the goal. But I would definitely say hoping to be on Tiny Desk and touring. Definitely touring. And hopefully having some work with Jill Scott.
That would be incredible. I was gonna say, I know Tiny Desk does those submissions every year. Maybe you're gonna have to do that one year.
Yes.
See if you can get on there.
Yes, my mom signed me up last year to audition for America's Got Talent. And don't get me wrong, like, I'm not afraid to do America's Got Talent,
Mm-hmm.
but I just know where I stand in my image and my branding, and they kind of want people they can mold.
Yeah.
And not only that, I'm like, I at that point, I wasn't even ready to take on an instrument, and I knew that my chances of being successful on that show would be a lot greater if I was playing something, So that's what I'm working on right now, because I feel like when you play an instrument as a singer, you're a lot more respected. I'm not doing it for just that reason, because I love the things that I learn about this guitar every day. But it's a lot easier to get booked because people know that, or they have more assurance that they're going to get a full show and something worth sitting and watching when you can play. Mm-hmm. So I was like, no, I'm not going on America's Got Talent, because I just was not as confident as I am now.
Yeah. And it's good that you were staying true to yourself as well in that whole situation, because I think that's the most important part too. So,
yeah.
And do you have any final words of wisdom today for the listeners?
Any final words of wisdom? Do what lights your spirit up. Do what lights you up all the time, every day, no matter what it is. And even if you're tired, do it. Mm-hmm. I was exhausted a few nights ago, and I needed to practice, and I was like debating because I was so tired. I was like, I was stuck between rest and I was stuck between practicing. And when you're doing something that you don't love, it feels like work. For me, I love music so much that it doesn't feel like work. So I picked up my guitar and I started practicing. And I felt like I could run a mile. Mind you, it's going on 12 o'clock at night, and I have a almost 2-year-old that I'm chasing around all day if I'm not working on music-related things or just my regular work. And I got this major boost of energy. And I was also kind of dealing with some things emotionally, so I just was not feeling like my highest self until I picked up that guitar and I started singing. So, yeah, just do it. Light your spirit up, and don't be afraid to be different. Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you're awkward, embrace that. I think I have some things about me. People are like, she's different, or she's kind of quirky. But I embrace it. Like, it's what makes me me, and I don't want to be anybody else. I love this journey that I'm on. Mm-hmm. And that's another thing, too. Like, don't compare your journey to anyone else's. Like, yours is crafted and tailored specifically for you. You will never be left in the dust or dirt, because your path has already been laid out for you. And that's what I have to say.
Absolutely. It's too good. Couldn't have said it any better myself. And once again, I want to say thank you so much for being on the show, for doing everything you're doing. I love the message and the music. Looking forward to the EP. And yeah, just keep being you, like you said, because you have something good to offer. I feel like you got great energy, and what you're doing is very important. So I'm going to be on the lookout for everything, and we'll have to do this again soon too. So I appreciate it.
We will. Thank you so much, Anthony. And I'm going to send you that information. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks everyone for listening today. That was episode 160. We'll be back this time next week. As always, hit the support button on your podcast streaming platform if you'd like to send any funds. And feel free to leave us that 5-star rating if you enjoyed today's episode. So we'll see you then. Thanks, guys.